Hi, my name is Lisette Lutz, and today we will be creating a color-dyed abstract collage inspired by Mette Tommerup's artwork. We will be exploring shape and color through experimentation. This lesson is intended for high school students, grades 9 through 12. So for this lesson, we're going to be making a collage in the style of Mette Tommerup. So you will be needing a large sheet of tagboard paper, and it's 12 by 18 inches. So that will be for your background. Then for the actual shapes that we're going to be dyeing with different colors, we're just using some coffee filters that you can find at the grocery store. Make sure to get the white coffee filters, and then an iron and an ironing pad. So I just took some cardboard and covered it with some fabric. So these are just cardboard sheets. But for this lesson, I have my iron that's nice and hot and ready, because we are going to be needing to iron these coffee filters in a moment. For the dyeing of the coffee filters, I just used regular food coloring found at the grocery store. We're going to need a container with water to dilute those colors. If you want softer pastels like light pinks or light yellows and blues, you're going to want to add some water to those intense concentrated colors. Once the coffee filters have been dyed and are ready to glue and they're dry, we're going to need scissors to cut them into those beautiful shapes, and some glue stick. I have different types here. This one is washable. This one is more permanent. I like to use the more permanent type, but they both work well. I've got some wipes and some paper towels nearby in case of any messes. I've covered my table with some parchment paper just in case if there's any messes. And then if you notice here, I have an ice cube tray. You can get these at the dollar store. All right, so once you've gathered all of your materials, we're gonna begin with ironing our coffee filters. So I like to iron out at least a dozen of these coffee filters so I can play around and do different color combinations. You really don't wanna limit yourself. It's always good to have extra. All right, so I've ironed quite a few circles. I have probably about 14 here that I flattened out. So these are ready to dye. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my colors ready in my ice cube tray. So now to dye your coffee filters, you are going to work in batches. We'll need an area to allow these to dry as you work, because we're going to be dyeing a lot of different coffee filters. I'm going to fold the coffee filter in half. I'm going to fold it again in half. And I'm going to fold it one more time. So it should look like a cone shape, like an ice cream cone. And this is a trick. You can dip it. So I'm gonna begin with some of that darker red and just dip the tip, and you're gonna see that it's going to pull that color up as far as it can go. And then I like to dip, I'm gonna fold it one more time in half. The edge, I'm gonna dip the edge in orange, like an orangey red. And then I'm gonna open it up on my parchment paper, and I'm gonna paint in the yellow in the middle. And just press it down. So I'm gonna open this up, and I'm gonna lay it down on the area that I have here in this room to allow it to dry. Okay, so for my next one, make sure you don't have two. Sometimes they stick together. So folding it in half and in half again, lay it down on your parchment paper, And then you can just, with your paintbrush, you can paint dots or lines of color and control it a little bit more. The other method, I dipped it, so I put some there on the tip. And now I'm gonna go in with a different color and do the edge with a lighter blue. Just running the paint with your paintbrush. You just barely need to touch it. That filter takes in the color and absorbs it pretty quickly. So a tip to get these to dry faster, if you're able to, if you have a kitchen where you're working, preheat your oven to 300 degrees and lay these out on a cookie sheet or a pan and bake them in the oven just for 2 or 3 minutes at a 300-degree oven, and they dry so fast. So that's just a way to speed it up. But if not, you can just lay them out and allow them to dry. It takes a few hours. I've already dyed all 14 of my sheets. They're drying. These are already dried here. So you can see the variety of colors and what they look like. So you want to sort through what you have and kind of say, okay, these I'm not going to touch, and these I'm going to cut from. So to cut your shapes, you can cut a variety of shapes. You can cut diamonds, you can cut circular shapes, cubes. I'm going to show you how to make a circle. So we're going to go ahead and fold this coffee filter in half again, like we did before when we were dyeing them. I'm going to cut it in half again. Not cut it in half, fold it in half, excuse me. So I'm going to show you how to cut these coffee filter shapes easily and evenly using scissors and also by folding. So I'm going to fold this coffee filter in half, fold it in half again, one more time. You can cut parallel from the edge. You can cut across. You're gonna have a smaller circle, just like that. But the interesting thing is also the negative space that falls out. You should keep those, because now look what you have. You have this beautiful hollowed out circle. Or if you fold it in half and fold it in half again, we can cut, let's try it, oval shape or teardrop shape out of the middle. And when you open it, you can see what you get. Have like a flower shape. And remember, you want to hold on to the positive and the negative shape, because these can all be used in your design. All right, so I've got my shapes already next to me. This is one of my completed ones that has already been glued down with the glue sticks. Play around with the shapes and the color combinations. That's going to take you a lot of time, just trying to get that vision that you have in your mind of this design. Or you might not necessarily have a vision in your mind of what you want it to look like. But then as you start to place those papers and lay them out on your background, you start to see what you like and what works and what doesn't work. So I'm going to bring back this piece that I really like that has that beautiful sunlight in the middle of it. I really like that piece. This one with the intense red, I really liked. I cut it in half into two to get 2 half circles, and I've got some blue. So I like how these colors look together. So I'm going to go ahead and play around with it. To a stopping point now. I've worked for a little bit arranging the shapes, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. I've got some nice dark blues on top of that light pink, and I'm really loving this fiery red layered on top of that light pink. It gives it some nice contrast, nice touch, and it balances the composition. I hope you enjoyed this lesson as much as I did.